All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it. All right, today should be a really nice catch up day and using the opportunity to get ahead on your progress check for Unit 7 in AP Classroom. I know a lot of us are at different places. You're turning in annotations and redoing certain things and really making sure that the research is accurate before you submit your outline. And I completely understand. So if you needed the extra day, definitely make sure you turn it in today. Just know that the entire outline locks on Monday because I need enough time to do a quick turnaround and give you feedback before you start your rough draft. Because again, those final drafts are going to be coming up pretty quickly. So do yourself a favor, focus on that. Number one. Number two, you have your Unit 7 AP progress check in AP Classroom. You have 21 questions this time around. You have two rhetorical analysis questions. You have 6 questions for each one. And it's going to follow that same format where one of them is a little more challenging and the other one is a little bit more contemporary. So just be mindful of those questions, right? The heart of the text, kind of the easier the questions, so to speak, and then obviously the opposite for the other text. For the essay, it's shorter, but there are 9 questions based on that essay. They're mostly stylistic, so pay attention to that. One thing I wanted to make sure that you are aware of, I know a lot of us are freaking out a little bit with the amount of questions that we're getting correct. Some of us are like, I'm only getting half, or I'm only getting, like 10 out of 19 or 18. That's actually really good. If you can score between a 15 to 60% for each progress check, you're fine. You'll pass that part of the section, okay? So, I mean, it's unrealistic to think that you should be getting 18 out of 18 every single time. If you are, then hey, you're probably one of that small percentage of people who will probably get the majority of the questions correct, which means you've figured out a system, right? You figured out something that works for you. But if you're consistently only getting about half or a little bit more, I wouldn't stress too much, and I wouldn't try to add any further anxiety or stress on yourself because that's fine, okay? Just don't regress. That's the only thing, you have 3 weeks. But the biggest thing I can tell you is look at the questions and answer them the way you feel College Board expects you to answer them. I know we think certain things could be correct, but what is College Board looking for? And if you haven't really been looking at the descriptions for why certain answer choices are correct, especially between the two that could be, right, but one of them is what they're looking for, pay attention to that because that will show you what they look for when you answer questions. Again, it's figuring out a system, it's figuring out, how to play their game. It's a strategy. So that would be my one thing is think about the questions and think about how College Board expects you to answer them rather than what you just feel is correct, right? Like it's not about your opinion at this point. It's about what College Board expects. So I also revamped your reflection. I know we were kind of getting tired of the old way. So this week and for the foreseeable future, you only have one more of these, I think. It's only 2 questions, and I want full transparency on this, right? I don't need an idealistic kind of pie in the sky kind of answer. I want here's what I'm doing, here's what's going to help me on the exam, and let's be realistic about what you can actually accomplish in the next 3 weeks, right? If you haven't been doing it all year, it's not going to happen. If certain acronyms, you're not going to remember certain acronyms that you try right now, or, so just think about that. Because there are only 2 questions, they are worth 50 points each, so I expect 50-point worthy responses. There are multiple elements and parts of each question, so address every single one of them. It's 50 points per response. So number 1 says, based on the multiple choice practice in Unit 7, identify 2 of your strengths. And I don't need them skills related, right? They don't have to be. If you're really good at consistently, doing well on the rhetorical analysis passages, great. If you're somebody who is not really affected by the time constraint, that's a strength, right? If you're consistently scoring above 50%, that's a strength. So make sure that you're identifying the things that you are doing well, right? And how are these things that you're consistent with going to help you on the AP exam specifically, okay? Number 2, now that we're less than a month out, we're only realistically maybe 3 weeks away, it's unrealistic for us to try things, right? But there are certain things that maybe we haven't been focusing on that we can realistically work on now that are going to benefit us on the exam. So identify at least one area, right? If you haven't really paid attention to the descriptions in the multiple choice, maybe that's something you're going to go back in and look at so that way you can kind of figure out what College Board is looking for on these progress checks. Or if you're somebody who tends to, get really overwhelmed by the time, at this point, do what you can in the time that you're given, right? And don't stress about the questions that you didn't get correct. If you're somebody who needs a little bit more time and you don't answer as many or get, feel as confident in maybe like 5 questions, but you got the other 16 correct, then give yourself, that grace and understand that, hey, I can take my time, but I'm not going to stress about the questions that are overly challenging. I'm just going to make sure that I get, as many as I can, to get me across the pass rate, right? Whatever you can do to realistically help you on this exam. All right, so that progress check will lock on Monday at midnight, I believe, or Tuesday at midnight, whatever the week at a glance says. And then, like I said, your research paper outline will lock on Monday. Do not put this class off. Do not say, okay, well, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to just do it Sunday. We both know you don't want to do it on Sunday. So just take the 25 minutes and do this progress check, or spend 25 minutes figuring out your research and finishing up your outline. It's just text evidence, really. So do it now so you don't do it later. Because remember, our assignments, we have something we're doing every single day. There's not really going to be a day of like work time. So stay on top of it now, okay? And if you have questions, it's really important that you hop on the Zoom, especially because a lot of your questions are really complex and it takes a long time for me to respond and you have deadlines. So simply waiting because Ms. Mendoza didn't email you back right away is not an excuse to miss a deadline. You hop on that Zoom. That is what we have Zoom meetings for. All right. Okay. And remember, if you're busy during our class period, that's pretty much unacceptable, because if you were at real school, you wouldn't be doing whatever it is you're doing anyway. You would be taking the absence, right, and be out of class. So it's an expectation that you're available during our scheduled class time period, just so you know. All right. I hope you have a great weekend and stay safe, get work done, be productive, and we'll see you next week. Take care.